Hi, good morning everybody. Welcome to my live video. It's Susan Wong here. I'm joining you from Auckland, New Zealand. And I'm excited to craft with you today. Some of you know I always start on this orientation now because my camera does weird things. So this affords us the best view, and then I'll say hi to you properly at the end. Got my coffee. And while we wait for a few people to join, I'm just going to cut a few like insides of cards. Hopefully you can send me comments and I'll see them today. It's not always guaranteed. But yeah. Hi Vicky. So I'm just going to cut the inside of some cards because I think it's helpful to have a few of these on hand, and I can do it in this little space of time. Oh yay, I can see comments, yay. I'm glad about that. Hi. So if you're just joining us, welcome, welcome. It'd be great to know where you're joining us from today, because obviously we have a wider scope than normal in this group. And if you have already watched one of the videos from Cindy or Michaela, let me know something that you got from it. What was something that you learned that you found or enjoyed that you found really interesting? Hi Rochelle. Yay, my Aussie buddies coming on. So if you weren't aware, I'm just cutting some insides of cards, just to up my stash and have something to do while I'm waiting for people to join. Let me know where you're joining from today, and if you have found something interesting from the tutorials we've already had. Oops, that was a bit shorter than expected. Maybe one more sheet. Terrible. I've done most of them at the wrong measurement. Let's try and concentrate a bit more. So I normally cut the inside of my cards 10.1 and 14.4. 14.4. Joining from Gilbert in Arizona, I'm guessing that is. I'm not familiar with all of the abbreviations. Okay, one of them was longer. Don't know what happened there. I didn't cut ahead today. Oh no, that's all good. You won't fall behind at all. I'm just cutting these for future use because today we're working with, oh yeah, I got it right. Great. Today we're working with some dark cardstock colours, and so it's helpful to have some inside of your card things on hand. And I find often when I'm creating and I've made a dark card that needs a thing inside, I don't bother with it then and there, which is a hindrance to me actually using the card later because it requires extra work. So if I have a little stash of these cut, I can just pull one out and it's easy. I'm going to show you the project at the end because we've got some cool colorways happening as well. The time is 11:07 here in Auckland. This is a good time actually. I've had a really busy week, so it's nice to be with you on a Friday. If you don't know, I'm a student at the moment. I'm studying a Bachelor of Counselling, so that keeps me pretty busy through the week. Hi from Brisbane. Missed the first few minutes and couldn't find any cutting instructions. Did I miss it somehow? Okay, so you haven't missed anything yet. I was just cutting some insides of cards for later use. There are some cutting instructions and supply lists in the event in this group, but I will also post it on together with the photo when I post that in the tutorial projects album. So if you missed where that was, it should be easy to find later on. But there's not heaps of cutting today. My projects, if you're not familiar with my projects, they're normally quite simple and easy to recreate, so you won't necessarily need the detailed cut list. I can run you through the supplies though if you haven't seen the list and you do want to grab things. I'm working with shaded spruce, and I've actually never used this before, but this is the cloud cover colour, so I'm happy to be giving that a go. I really love the way that they look together. You'll need a little bit of basic white and the celebratory Sips designer paper. Yeah, so that's all the paper that you need, and then hopefully most of your other stuff is in front of you and it's easy to grab. But I'll try and go slow so that you've got time if you are crafting along. Then you can grab stuff as you go. Just finished my coffee because I don't want a cold sip at the end. Alright, so I've pulled out this designer paper as well from the same pack. So from this gap here you might be able to see what we're working with today. We're gonna start with some like the messy stuff first, so it has time to dry. The shaded spruce cloud cover and basic white looks like a fantastic colour combo. Thanks, Rochelle. I think so. It's been like, okay, if you know me at all, you know that I love unexpected colour combinations, so that's my jam and that's what we're doing. So first, just grab your shaded spruce. I'll just use this sheet. This is gonna, oops, knocking my camera. This is gonna be a 3.5 by 4.5 inch piece. So that's 3.5. If you missed that, then it's there. This is probably one of the standard card front sizes that I use. I'm not sure how it works with a US card layer, because our cardstock in New Zealand and Australia and Europe is a different size, but I find that this fits quite nicely on the front of our card. I feel like it would probably be just as good on a US card front, so that's why I try and pick sizes that will be doable for both. That can go aside for now. Now I know there are dies. Hi from Ontario. Hi Laurel. Good to have you here. So what I'm going to be doing with some of these is cutting them out. I have used a few different ones. Maybe maybe I'll go with this one today. Now, there are dies that come with the stamp set, but I've just opted for fussy cutting with this card, partly so I don't have to lug my die cutting machine to the table, because I'm actually up in my living room at the moment, rather than by my stamps. I'm going to be picking out these orange tones. Ooh. Without, oh look, I could have just got those together. And I want one of these. So orange and green I feel like is one of my current favorite combinations. I feel like it's very true to my style. So what have we got? Yeah, those two. Hi from the UK. Hi Bianca. So I'm just going to cut out this celery leaf here. Now this is in the stamp set too, so if you didn't have the designer paper, you could actually build this. You would stamp it in a dark green and then use some watercolor, maybe pencils or watercolor and water, inks and water, to create this leaf. But the designer paper has done a whole bunch of the hard work for us. So hopefully you can still see what I'm doing. Now I'd like to caveat this by saying I have no clue on which drinks actually are, because I don't drink a lot of alcohol, so I have zero inhibitors as to which items should be with which colours of drink and whatnot. Which I guess allows for a bit more creativity, but if you get offended by my lack of, oh my gosh, I'd never put celery in an orange drink, that's the background, that's why. I think I've had like one cocktail in my life. My parents got annoyed about it too. It was my friend's like 18th birthday or something, and they didn't know that there was going to be alcohol there. But I was like, it wasn't a big deal. I had one and then we went on the bus to town to have a dance. Oops. Hi Trudy from Adelaide. Nice. Hi Barbara. Welcome. Okay, so is this rosemary in a drink? I mean, that doesn't really appeal to me. Is it some kind of carrot juice or something? Oh, the sun's coming out. I wondered if it would splash across my work area, but it's moved enough that it's not going to do that. Okay, so if you're just joining us, I'm cutting these out because we're working on the wet elements first, so that they've got time to dry while we do the rest of the card. So that's those two. And then while we're here, let's also just organise the other drink that we want. So I've just grabbed this glass from the stamp set, and I've got some grey granite here, and it's kind of to match the tone of the outline on the other ones. I just thought that this paper was so pretty, and it looks like a kind of a retro glass. So we're making a glass out of it. And again, I could be using the die for this, but I don't mind a bit of fussy cutting. I'm terrible actually, like I always buy the dies and then maybe it's just quicker for me to just do this than get everything organised, roll it through. Okay, so that's those three together. Now, okay, let's just do this glass while we can. It doesn't really matter what it looks like at the top because that bit's going to be covered, but I'm just giving it with the Daffodil Delight Stampin' Blend a little bit of colour down here. That's that. Okay, so the next bit is we're going to attach this to the tall glass. Your anti-fussy cutting. That's your prerogative, you're allowed. If you like a die, go for it. So I'm going to put this in the glass. I'm kind of lining up the corner here of the original glass with the corner of this one, and it looks a little weird for now, but bear with. Move it up a bit because it's now this is the part where we get a little messy. So what I've got on here is Whisper White. Well, it still says Whisper White on mine. I guess these days it might say just white craft ink, but it's the refill for the craft ink. And as you know, these are a bit thicker. They're more like an oil base than the water base of our usual ones. So I've actually squeezed a little bit of that onto a block. And what's cool is, like, I did this project a couple of weeks ago, and so I've just it's still kind of tacky and not dry on here. So the cool thing is you can just add a little bit more water to it and refresh it. Ew, it's got a bit of mold in there. Fancy. So I've got an old aqua painter that I'm just using for this kind of thing only. So I use it for the white craft ink and also for the shimmer paints. Just get that piece of mold out, put it on the side. So you can just make like a really nice white paste here. And then I've got some scrap paper, and I'm moving my body back because I don't want to get it on my dress. And I'm just going to tap this onto the paper in sort of a sweeping motion, as if the splatter has come down the page from right to left. Okay, so that's all you have to do for that. Okay, dry out your brush, and this will just dry on its own and go back to being usable in the same way that we've done. So I'm putting this aside because that needs a good amount of time to dry. And while that does, we're going to work on these ones. So This is where it gets funny because I don't actually know what drinks have little rimmed, like sugar or salt dipped glasses, but that's what we're going for, okay? So I'm putting some glue along the top of that one and this one here, and this is going to fill in the awkwardness of adding the celery to this other glass. I did think about resurrecting our old like Dazzling Diamonds glitter. I thought it would be really cool for this. However, I really liked the look of this one. It was kind of chunky enough, just chunky enough for it to look kind of like cubes of salt or sugar. So I'm just going to tap that on. Had a dear old stamping friend who hated glitter, so I would never have approached a project like this with her. And with my kids, it's the glitter nickname is Disaster. But you know, for these purposes, we can generally control it. And because it's a bit chunkier, it doesn't seem to get quite as everywhere. But look at our little rimmed glass. How cute is that? Super cute, right? I love how it catches the light. Okay, let me just put this glitter aside. So I'm going to attempt just make a little V the side of the paper. It's working and it's not. This is for you to enjoy watching me fumble so that you can catch up if you're crafting along. Okay, that's good enough. The rest can be vacuumed later. There we go. I'll probably find it in mysterious places. Love the glitter look. Love that idea, looks so cool. Cheers. It's cute together, right? Okay, so we just need to allow that to dry for a little bit. But the idea is that these are going to be layering right next to each other on the front. Okay, so while that dries, you could do more. You could do other colours while you're waiting, you know. Let's make a card base. I'm actually really glad I moved this to the dining table today. It means I can spread out and still see where my stuff is. You know how you always lose things underneath other things? Alright, so this is just our standard A4 card base. I'm taking it to 14.8 centimeters. And then I've got some cloud cover here, and I'm going to go just 1/8 of an inch bigger. I'm in shock. I have no glitter in my craft room. Could you improvise with something else? You could scrape some off some glimmer paper, or you could use like cut out a little blob of glimmer paper and see if that works. I don't know. So I'm going to take this to 1/8 bigger than 3.5. You could do it probably without the glitter. I just feel like it really lifts the card. You'll see in a minute how cool it looks. So I'm just going an eighth bigger than 4.5, and that's giving us our cloud color layer. Hi Kim, welcome. I honestly do not know who I am right now. Identity crisis, my glitter's gone AWOL. I searched and searched to see if I had any dazzling diamonds around. Bring back the old school favourite best glitter of all time, but I didn't. And then, yeah, I was like, actually, I do like the look of this one, so I let it roll. I found this in a my grandpa's wife passed away, and she I got her sewing kit. Look, $1.99. And in her sewing kit was that. Alright, so this I'm just going to glue on the front here. We're just kind of buying time while our other items are drying, making use of that time. Now, since at the beginning you saw me doing these, now you could decorate the inside of this card and do some extra stamping. But I'm too lazy for that. I just fill mine with nice words instead. I quite like to write very heartfelt messages, so I need lots of space. I'll go through my grandkids' craft boxes. Maybe there, surely somewhere in the house there will be something. My watch is annoying me. Take that off. Alright, so we've got our card base ready to go. Looking pretty boring right now, but it's going to come together. Look at the colours playing together. They look great. Alright, let's grab a piece of white. Let's do the sentiment while we're still waiting for those other bits to dry. So I've pulled out from the Cheers and Sips stamp set the cheers. And I've also got It's Your Day. And I'm actually going to use these together with some shaded spruce. So to kind of help get things straight, it helps to use the grid on your paper. And then I actually do it up a little bit, which gives me room to decide how fat I want it to be. And that didn't work, so let's go again. Lining it up with the grid, and then I'm putting it up a little to give me wiggle room for cutting. Then I'm going to apply even pressure. Here we go. Right, stamp that off and just, oh my goodness, put the It's Your Day on as well. Might be easier this way because it's so skinny. I actually brought in a ruler for this part, and that's because I wanted to get it looking like it kind of matched the straightness of the H, E's and R. So I'm holding that still there, and I'm going to ink up It's Your Day. Test. Yep, we're doing good. And the ruler is going to help me get it straight. With skinny letters, I often just hold it there for a little bit longer so it has time to soak into the paper. Alright, let's get the ink out the way before I have an accident. And then I've got this trimmer, which is what I use for sentiments all the time. So I never have really a specific measurement for sentiments because I go with what fits the words. So I always leave a little bit of gaps at the end just to give it some breathing room. So that's probably a 1/4 inch, just over a 1/4 inch, a centimetre. And I just eyeball that. Yep, that's looking good. The bottom, kind of line up with, like obviously now it's lined up at the top, but I just want to make sure I've got it straight, so I line up again using the H, E's and R. Did I get that straight? No, I need to look at the grid. I did. I don't think the edges are straight. I think that cut was straight though. Is that enough? Maybe a little more. No, I feel like it's looking good. Okay, I'm just going to trim the sides so that we have a actual rectangle. Okay, there's our sentiment. Alright, so now I think we probably should be dry enough to put this together. This is how the splatter one's looking. It's almost like it's been like bleached, but it has the white tone. It's like a reverse, it's like kind of a reverse color, right? But because it's the craft, actually the craft ink, it gives a nice white tone to it. I really like this. It's looking good. Okay, so it's very green right now. I find green can be quite in your face, so that's why we're mixing in some other colours and making sure that we have everything spaced nicely. Now here's a little tip to get your spacing right. I'm actually going to start by doing them upside down, but yeah, I think that's dry enough. Because I know that I want this in the center, and I want that to be stacked in a row. But the tip is to have it like this first, because then you can see what your spacing's like on either side. And how much overlap you're going to get. I might just pull that one down. This one maybe across a bit. And then what I actually do is I get them together first, and then I'm putting it down onto the card as one item. Okay, so that's all straight. Now I'm just going to peg them together with some dimensionals, keeping things straight. Alright, so now it should just be easy to stick them together here and fill out the rest of your space. How many dimensionals is too many dimensionals? Nobody knows. We just don't want any saggy middles, you know. Some people cut these in half and use them that way, but I find I don't really go through enough quantity-wise of them to worry about economizing them. Okay, see? It's one piece now, which makes it easier to put down. I hope I'm still seeing comments. Sorry if I've missed anything. It looks like there hasn't been any recent ones, but it might just be not telling me, you know. Alright, so that's allowed me to already have my placement sorted. It's just a matter of sticking. How cute is that? Okay, so next I have this. This is some metallic cord, and I've just pulled out like the fluffy white inside, and I'm using these strands individually. They're kind of stretchy and they like to go the way that they go. So just pulling this apart. This has become an option for me because I've run out of my old favourite metallic thread. And I was like, hold on, this is metallic thread too. It's just crinkly and fun. And I think, you know, like one kind of 12-inch strand has given me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there's 8 threads, so 8 cards for that is pretty good. So I like to stagger the ends. And what I'm actually going to do is get this backing ready for us. And then we're going to use one of these dimensionals to stick this ribbon with. So kind of stagger the ends and see what I mean. It's kind of bouncy and curly. It's quite fun. Can we tame it to a certain extent? Yes. It's actually knotting together. Alright, so we're just going to go loosely round, and what it this one tends to automatically do is to form a figure 8. So we'll let it go that way. Oh, it's not today. Well, it did the last couple of times. So I've just got a messy figure of 8, and I'm going to put it on a diagonal this way so it's out the way of the glitter. And I want the ends pointing downwards, and just kind of stick it to the dimensional at the back. You can kind of manipulate where you want your loops to be. Let it, you know, to a certain extent, because it's got a mind of its own. I'm just lining up the edge of the sentiment with the edge of the matte layer there. Oh, I think I went a bit further down. And I don't know if you noticed, but I put the dimensional a little bit in, and that way it's on the glass and not having to be a double layer on the card. And we're done. So here's my original. For this one, this glass had the orange and some ice cubes, but same. But what I want to show you is another colourway using some of the other drinks from the page. So I was looking at this, and there was several groupings. I thought you could do kind of a mix of red, orange, yellow. The reds and greens probably look quite cool together, or greens and oranges. But what I picked out is kind of some purples and pinks. And I made this one, which is quite kind of a unexpected combo. Adorable, cute, thank you. Check this out. So this is on a Blackberry Bliss, and I've actually paired it with Cajun and the pink, and the Cajun I felt kind of toned in with this cherry here. So it's a very unusual combination, but I just loved the way it worked together. So there's an up close of that one. The glass is the same. I've just put a little bit of pink in with the bubble bath down there. But otherwise everything else is pretty much the same. So you could really have some fun with different colour combinations of these glasses. And if you wanted to, obviously experiment with your own colours if you want to go with the stamp set. So yeah, I think you can do a lot with the ready-made colours that are already in the DSP, but you can bring in other ones that are unexpected and fun. So love the splatter effect. A card's not complete without splatter, right? I kind of like on this one, like the splatters kind of picked up some of the purple ink, or maybe it's kind of see-through. But I felt like it had kind of absorbed some of the strength of the Blackberry Bliss, and so the splatters actually like a lighter tone of purple. That's quite fun. Yeah, so the other colour combination I was thinking about but haven't got to yet was, I thought it would be kind of cool to do maybe some reds and pinks with Night of Navy, if you wanted to continue in the dark, like jewel toned kind of backgrounds. So yeah, gorgeous cards. Love how the cocktails really pop. Thanks. Thanks Susan, great tutorial. Thanks for joining me. I will turn you around and we can sum up. Hey, good to show my face for a little bit, right? So I wore my dark green dress to kind of catch the shaded spruce vibe today. Yeah, so thank you for joining me, and I hope you've been having a really great time in our Cheers and Sips May tutorials. I have a special announcement, and that is that we have a special coming up for the rest of the year. You can get our tutorials from June through to November for $99 US. So watch out for that special coming, and get yourself sorted for your crafty goodness for the rest of the year. Huge thank you for joining me. So good to see you and to be here. One more thing, don't forget to add your projects to the Share Your Projects album. We love to see, and it's so cool for the community to share our ideas. That's what we're here for, right? Just to share our joy with creativity. Yeah, so really good to see you. Krista will be next, and then she'll be summing up our month with our PDF tutorial sheet that you can download. So yeah, have a great day. Bye.